like the saying says, we're going to save the best for last. That is definitely the case in this tour. And I'll probably take a little bit of extra time here on this one because there's a lot to talk about to help you to prepare for and deliver a lesson to your children each day. For some of you, this might be new to use Family School. And so I'm going to share some tips that are coming from over a decade of feedback that we've received from our families. And hopefully this will help you to easily prepare for your Family School lessons each day and have a special experience with your children. And that ultimately is what we're going for here with Family School. If, perhaps maybe not so much in math and language arts, but in Family School, one of the primary purposes is to educate the heart, not just the mind. Yes, computational math is important. Yes, learning how to write well and read well is important. And we care about those subjects. And we're grateful that we have a comprehensive program for those things. But it is in history, literature, science, geography, art, and music. It is in these humanities and the sciences that we can have an experience with the heart in a way that you can't in a math or some other skills course per se. So I'm going to show you one of these character core lesson plans. These are the ones that you'll have to prepare the most for, although we've made preparation as easy and as simple as possible. Math and language arts will primarily be student-led for your students if they can read, and then if they can't read, then of course you would assist them kindergarten, first, second grade. But I'm going to show you a character core lesson and give you a few tips for how to prepare for an effective experience, again, that educates the heart and the mind. We're going to stick with science. We've been using science, zoology throughout this tour, so we're going to stay there. And I'm going to scroll down to one of my favorite lessons in the vertebrate unit. It's on the Komodo dragon. And you can see first that in this lesson, you have a couple ways to deliver that lesson. You can deliver it as a parent to multiple children or a single child, of course, using the open and go script or the deep dive script. The only difference between these two is the amount of time it takes to complete the lesson. The deep dive is a full version, and the open and go is just a condensed, simplified version that we share with our families. So depending on the time that you have available or the age of your children, you can select between those two. Now, if you have an unlimited membership, you'll have access to the videos. And again, we mentioned in the tour before that if the course has a little video icon next to it, like this one does, then you'll see some videos there that are available to you as well that your students can use independently. And if they do have videos, then you'll see that sometimes they have various levels. So level 1, level 2, level 3. We produced this year when we were producing zoology. You can click on that and you can see the video that we produced here in the studio.
Welcome to science. It's good to be with you again. Today,
oh, I love you, Hosh. So each of the stops of the 4 R's, or each of the 4 R's is represented here a little differently than in the script. In this case, it's videos. So we have a research video, then we have a reason and relate video. So academics, spiritual, then the record assignment, and there's always a couple options for record assignments, and so there's 2 videos for that. So that's the lesson. If you're going to have your students watch the videos and then maybe you have a little discussion or you do your record activity or project together, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to teach the lesson using the scripts that we prepared. And again, you have open and go and deep dive. We're going to just click on deep dive so you can see in this tour at least a full lesson. Let me hide this here. The first thing that you're going to do is just check the preparation, see what we're studying. You can see right here any resources that are used during the lesson, a lot of videos that we're showing. So that's nothing that you have to prepare, just you can be aware that there's a lot of videos that you can pull from and choose from. That word choose is really important, and I can't stress this enough, that you don't have to complete the lesson. You get to choose. Like, this is a resource for you and your family, and you follow the Spirit. You're going to invite the Spirit every day in family school. And because of that, you're going to have impressions while you're teaching and while you're preparing. And you should follow those impressions. This is simply a launch pad for you. So if you get only 10% of the lesson that we've prepared done, that's exactly what should have happened that day. And you don't need to go back and finish the rest of it. You can just move on to the next lesson, and that's just fine. Now, maybe that doesn't work in math or writing or reading, but it certainly works in science and history. You can come back to these in future years, another time, in the summertime. So don't worry about whether you finish a lesson or finish a unit or finish an entire course each year. That makes no difference. Just follow the Spirit and use this as a launch pad. You can see various PDFs that we've printed that sometimes you'll want to pull from your handout packet, or maybe just download and print them on your own. And then anything in the enrichment or handwriting worksheets are there too. You can also find that you can skip quickly through the table of contents in this lesson using the More tab. When you finish, you can mark it complete, and that helps you keep track of that on your calendar and helps you to come back to the next lesson up. Let's see, anything else here? Feedback. If you find something that's broken, and oftentimes you will, there are a lot of links that we use out to external content. So if there's a line through one of them, it's broken. If you want to click on More and just report that issue to us, then we can fix that as soon as possible. And we're pretty fast at fixing those. You can give some feedback to us too. Like if you wanted to just share some feedback about the content, or maybe something that we didn't include that you felt like we should, or something that we didn't phrase right, or a suggestion or recommendation that you have for us about the content, then you can use, again, More curriculum feedback. Notes. You can write notes to yourself while you're preparing, and you can have those right there. All right, let's move into a lesson. Every lesson is formatted the exact same way, so you'll become very, very familiar with a family school lesson after teaching just a couple of them. They all start with the desired result. And this is for you as the teacher, the parent, just to understand what is the academic concept and what is the gospel principle. And sometimes there's multiple academic concepts, but in this lesson, there's one academic concept. The Komodo dragon is an endangered reptile with unique characteristics. We are in the vertebrate unit, so we're studying Komodo dragons today. The gospel principle that we're going to bridge to or relate to this academic concept is that we also need to be aware of influences that place us in danger, just like the Komodo dragon is endangered. Very natural connection to a principle, and you'll see how we do that a little bit later. Attention activity. Get the kids up, moving, talking, acting, sharing. That's or playing and competing. The attention activities are a fun way to get children of all ages up and moving and kind of get the wiggles out too. Then we jump into the lesson. Starts with the first of the 4 R's, which now you know is research. We're going to research this academic concept. Everything that you need to teach is right here. Again, you don't need to prepare. You need to know what is here. So you might have read through it once and looked at the handouts, and maybe you've even pulled the handouts from your packet or the student's packet so that it's all ready. But if you haven't, that's okay. You can just move through this lesson. You could just read the words on the page. Anytime you see this icon, it means there's some information for you as the parent. This is not something that you would read or say, word for word to the students, but everything else you could. Today, we're going to look at one reptile in more detail, the Komodo dragon. You see, it just reads the way that you would need to say it to your children to teach them. Here's a handout. You could read from this. You could have it on an iPad and just flip it around, and you could have an older child read it if you wanted to use it, or you could just move on. If you want to download and print it, you can. There's videos. Like I said, there's videos throughout. These are curated videos from YouTube. You click on them, and you can just, again, flip your screen around and show your students, and you have some questions that you ask. Anytime you see a bullet, it's a question. And anytime there's a question, there's always an answer, even if it's accept all answers as the suggested answer. What are some of the characteristics of the Komodo dragon that make it a reptile? Well, it has dry, scaly skin. It's oviparous. I don't know how to say that. Lays eggs. is a vertebrate. Of course, it's a vertebrate because that's what we're studying in this unit. But this one, which characteristics of the Komodo dragon do you think are the most interesting and why? Well, you can accept all responses. Anyway, anytime you see a bullet, it's a question. And you'll always have an answer for you to help you if you need. Pictures, other content. This is, some parents would look at this image and say, I'm not going to show that one to my little kindergartner. That's a little bit too much for them, which is just fine. You don't have to. At some point, the academic portion of this is finished, and you'll move on to the gospel principle. It's the reason step. We need to be aware of influences that place us in danger. Today, we have learned that the Komodo dragon is endangered. You always have this bridge statement that connects the academics with the spiritual. Today, we have learned about the Komodo dragon, academic. Its physical life is being threatened, academic. The scriptures and the living prophets warn us over and over that we are also in danger, spiritual danger. That's the bridge to the spiritual concept or for the spiritual principle that we're teaching. Similar to the above section, it's all scripted. Questions are bulleted. Answers are provided. Videos are provided to reinforce the concept. Wow, this is a video that no kid will ever forget.
I speak today to the youth of the church, the Aaronic priesthood, and young women. In order to teach a lesson not easily learned, I will relate an experience. I have always been interested in animals and birds.
Oh, I love that video. And probably many of you can remember sitting in a chair at early morning seminary somewhere in the world watching that video when you were younger. At least I do. Maybe that dates me, but I do remember that video and I'll never forget it. And the kids won't forget that connection either. And that's what's really important. After the reason section, then you move on to relate. This is where we're going to, again, remember, relate is now that you've learned about this academic concept and this gospel principle, what are you going to do as a result? How are you going to be different? And so all the questions will get them thinking about their own lives. What are some spiritual crocodiles you might encounter in your life, or what we might encounter in our lives if you're teaching multiple children? What can help you avoid an encounter with one of these potentially dangerous experiences? Again, short and sweet. That really is the point of a faith connection, is to make it short and sweet and make it powerful, something that they'll remember, but not too long, lest they become weary with too much of the spiritual side of the content. They also are just excited about Komodo dragons, and we want to give them a lot of that as well. Okay, lastly, record. What makes this a one-room schoolhouse format? Well, it is this. It's not just that the content kind of bounces around in higher level questions and lower level questions, but it's also that once you finish the lesson with children of multiple ages learning together, they can work in their respective levels. So at the end of every lesson, you can click on these levels to find activities and assignments, not just assignments, but also activities. So the assignments are typically something you'll download and print. And again, you could have purchased those from the print store and had them ready. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to print as you need them, then you can do that here by just clicking on the PDF, downloading it, and printing it. There are also activities, and this is important because some students learn better doing. And so in every level, we'll provide an activity, at least one activity and one assignment that you can choose from. You might say, you know what, instead of doing, everybody doing a different activity, we're going to pick something in this kind of think or early elementary or upper elementary, and we're going to do it together as a family. And sometimes they're the same. Sometimes you might see a PDF that's in the planner level that's also in the thinker level, but you would just expect a different level of work from a younger one, but it's still something that they can do. And then, of course, Scholar Middle School. If you don't find what you're looking for and you just want to check the enrichment section, ideas for discussion, for family follow-up, for additional research, for family night, you can find that all here in the enrichment section. Some people I've heard skip to the enrichment section and they do things directly from that after just watching a video or reading a small portion of the lesson. Again, like I said before, and I'm going to repeat this again at the end of this video, it does not matter that you complete the lesson. It makes no difference at all. What matters is that you've taught something that they're engaged with, that they're excited about learning, and you've got their buy-in at the beginning, remember? And now they're learning something that they're excited about, and you're making a genuine connection to a principle of faith, to a principle of the gospel, or to a principle of truth. And that's going to register with them that day, but also in the future. And they'll remember these things because of the way that you taught it and the spirit that they felt when they learned that concept, even the academic concepts. All right, those are the tips and tricks, if you will, for teaching an effective family school lesson. Hope you've enjoyed this tour. And like I said, we're really excited that you're using Family School, whether it's as a full-time homeschooler or just supplemental use. We're just grateful that you're with our school community and excited to serve your family in the way that's going to be most helpful to you. Have a great day.